Hello, everybody. How you all doing today? Christian here. Welcome to another Magic the Gathering deck profile. Apologies for the lack of videos and apologies for not being up on point with my Magic content as of recently. We've had some bumps here and there that happened before spring was over, so there was kind of some minor setbacks that happened here and there. Like I said in the Infect deck profile, I will definitely be doing a update video, just let you guys know what's been going on with things. Don't worry, nothing bad happened. Just one thing led to another, nothing really too crazy here and there. So anyways, that's not what you guys are here for. You guys are here for the deck profile. So I want to showcase you guys my Dragon deck profile. Last time I did a profile of this deck, you guys really seemed to like the Dragon profile, and you guys have definitely seem to have enjoyed some of the other profiles we've done here and there. And before we get back full throttle with doing content, it does make with Magic, it does make sense that I definitely showcase you guys the deck that definitely means a lot to me the most, my all-time favorite deck of all time, the Dragon. Now, maybe in another video I'll go into like a more depth explanation why this deck definitely means a lot to me, and I've definitely poured in the most heart and soul, blood, sweat, and tears when it comes to perfecting this deck, per se, especially compared to the last time I did a profile with this deck right here. This is just my baby. This is something I just love playing with the most. I love you guys know how much I love my dragons. And the last time I done this profile right here, last time I did this profile, this deck was made for bracket 3 at the time. I've gotten so used to perfecting this deck to the point where I've made it now bracket 4. Now, I don't think it's CDH worthy, obviously not. I think Dragon is definitely very too slow for CDH, but for bracket 4, this card is just the absolute nuts. There's just a lot of crazy things you can do with this deck right here. And there's a lot of play styles you can do with this deck right here. You can do like an anti-meta build. You can do like a all-in Dragon build. You can go like a wide style. You can do like a control build style. There's a lot of directions you can do with the Dragon deck. This build right here is more of a go wide hyper offense build right here. So I'll explain what my choices are, why I've done with this and that. If you guys want to give me feedback, like I always say in my videos, if you guys want to give me criticism, how you guys think I should make some improvements to the deck, I definitely do not mind feedback. If you guys want to give me feedback, that's always very appreciated regardless. Just obviously be subtle. Just be like, hey, Christian, I recommend you do this and that. Take out that card and put in this card. And just be like subtle. Just nothing like any rude comments in particular. So, with that being said, I want to show you guys my Dragon deck, where I got the Dragon sleeves and everything. So, yeah. So, with that being said, let's get straight to the profile, shall we? All right. For those of you guys who are just here for the deck list, for those of you guys who are just here the net deck, I did leave the deck list in the description down below. For those of you guys who are just here net deck, I only ask that you drop a like on your way out. It really means a lot to me. It's very appreciative. It helps the channel grow. And if you guys want, consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. We're almost at 500 subscribers on YouTube. And I'm also a lot more active on Twitch than I am on YouTube. So if you guys want to follow me on Twitch, I would definitely really appreciate that. You guys might enjoy my Twitch content as well too. We do a lot of Let's Plays. We do a lot of shiny hunting. We don't really do a lot of Magic content, at least not at the moment. But I am always happy to talk about Commander and Magic. So if you guys want, especially when I'm currently shiny hunting. So if you guys want, hence why you see the shiny Eevee. So if you guys want to come by one of my shiny hunts or my Let's Plays and talk about Magic, I am definitely always happy to talk about that Magic. It would be really cool on my Twitch channel where we just hit 860 followers, 60 followers at the time this video is being recorded. We're almost at 1,000 followers, and it would mean the absolute world to me if we hit 1,000 before the year ends. So, with that being said, let's get on straight to the deck profile. All right, so start off with, of course, your commander. This guy's been around since at least 2017. This guy is like literally arguably one of, if not the most popular commander in Magic right now. I think a lot of people obviously know what he does. Some people love and admire him, other people hate and despise him, and both sides are definitely not wrong for having feelings of whichever. So, for those of you guys who do not know what Dragon is, he is a 10/10 Wooburg dragon. Uh, Dragon avatar, he requires exactly Wooburg, one of each, and 4 mana, so 9 mana in total. He reads as Eminence. As long as the Dragon is in the command zone or on the battlefield, other dragon spells you cast cost 1 less. He has flying, and he has that's the evidence ability. So even if you don't ever cast him and you don't ever touch him for whatever reason, he is always still contributing by just allowing you to not only being Wooburg, so you have access to literally every dragon in the game, but also allowing your dragons to be cast for 1 mana cheaper, which is a huge difference in the long run, especially when we look at really staple good dragons in particular, because this just gives you a lot of opportunity to make some go wide powerful plays right off the bat. And he also has, that's his evidence ability, but his other ability, if you ever do choose to play him, he also reads when one or more dragons you control attacks, draw that many cards, then you may put a permanent card from your hand onto your battlefield. Now, I do want to point this out real quickly. I think obviously a lot of competitive players or diehard Dragon players, fans already know this, but for those of you guys who are newish to Dragon, remember you can only drop only 1 permanent. Doesn't matter you drew 3 cards, doesn't matter you drew 5 cards, doesn't matter you drew 10 cards with Dragon ability. After you're done drawing, you only get to drop 1 permanent. Not 1 permanent for every card you drew because of the Dragon. No, you only get to drop only 1 permanent. So just want to at least point that out because I have had some new players who I've been trying to help out here and there who made the mistake and actually made that mistake here and there. But I've been correct. But it was an honest mistake. We corrected it, and they definitely gotten better. But that is still a really powerful ability. Of course, yes, you are typically going to drop more dragons with this ability. But remember, this is why Dragon is good for anti-meta builds too. Even if you don't want to go to full dragon, this is why anti-meta is good with Dragon. If you want to go that direction, you can drop any permanent. You could drop lands if you're behind a land. You can drop, obviously, creatures. You can drop planeswalkers if you want to go that route. You can drop high costing enchantments and artifacts and just go off your combos here on such. Your only restriction is literally just instant sorceries, and that's really it. So you have a huge variety pool to do whatever you want. And speaking of anti-meta, if you do want to do an anti-meta build with Dragon, theoretically you could tech in some cheeky creatures that no one will see coming and just throw people off, and you can just steal the game really quickly right off the bat. I've seen one buddy of mine who's got Dragon deck of his own, and he teched in a Brightsteel Colossus, and a lot of people dropped their jaws when that person did that. And then they use an effective Dragon that gave you the ability to have additional combat. You got the combat, and then the Brightsteel Colossus attacked for 11 infect. It's really funny when you can pull off funny shenanigans like that. So yeah, but as I mentioned, this is a hyper offense build. With this build specifically, I don't normally go after hard casting the Dragon unless either I have a reason for it or if I have more than enough treasure to do that. And the reason why I do that is because he is very costly. He is a big fat dragon that requires a whopping 9 mana. So obviously, yes, I do definitely go for it when I have the opportunity. Yes. But if I could help it, I try to avoid playing the Dragon unless I have the right opportunity or right reason to do that. Because 9 mana for a dragon, only to risk being counterspelled, all that such, can definitely blow up in your face very hard. So I try to avoid hard casting the Dragon unless I either need to, want to, or if I have the right setup to do that with no problems. But once you drop him, you can definitely get out of hand very quickly. You can start dropping your other dragons for big combos. You can drop like your enchantments and artifacts to help you support your dragons. There is just a lot of things you can do with Dragon once you hard cast them to start and you will definitely get out of hand very quickly, very fast. So yeah, that's our Mander, the Dragon. Love him, hate him. Both sides are as I said, both sides are definitely not wrong. And that's our commander. So now, before we get to the creatures, let's get our lands quickly out of the way. So we're gonna be doing, obviously this is a Wooburg deck. So you're, unfortunately, you are gonna need to run all the fetch lands. Unfortunately, now I have no problem with people proxying. If you guys want proxy, if you guys are tight on money, if you want to play proxies, I definitely have no problem with that. I choose not to play proxies. That's just my choice. Just avoid the drama, and that's just how I want to play the game. But as you guys may have noticed, I actually started a progress on getting some foiling out some of my cards. I have not all my cards have begun blinged out yet, but I have started a journey to slowly but surely bling out my entire Dragon deck, and I got a good start so far. I got a theme of using retro frame foils, anime art foils, etc. Such, and that's what my goal of the deck. I wanted to eventually not only perfect it for gameplay competitive wise, but also I want to bling out this deck, and I'm at a good start so far. So I got some retro frame foil cards. So unfortunately, it is a bummer. We all know why we need the fetch lands. It is a Wooburg deck, so you are gonna need all 10 of them. It is a bummer they haven't been really reprinted too often. I wish they would reprint the fetch lands too more often, but it's Wizards. What are you gonna do? And we also have the Shocklands as well too. I haven't blinged out them just yet. I will be in the process of doing that. I got a few buddies who are trying to put together their decks too, and every time they ask for like, hey Christian, I need help with this card. Can you help me get a Shockland? What I'll do is I'll be like, sure man, I'll help you. What I will do is I'll buy the retro frame foil of these cards. That's what I'm going to be doing down the road. I'm going to be buying the retro frame foil versions of these specific Shocks and Fetch lands, and eventually I will be replacing these versions with the retro frame foils as well. And as I have the old copies, I'm either going to put them towards another deck I'm working on, or I'm going to give them to a buddy who needs them more than I do. That's how I roll with help the homies out. You can Since I'm not proxying, I don't really do dual lands. I wish the dual lands would be reprinted, but we all know that's not going to happen unless that's the whole 30th anniversary controversy BS. I'd rather not go through proxying, like I said, and just avoid the drama of the proxy and all that jazz, and especially if I enter like sanctioned tournaments, all that such. So, yeah, just avoid the drama. If the dual lands were more affordable, obviously, yes, I would not be running the shock lands, but hey, since because we need substitute things, we are gonna have to roll with the shocklands. That is how it is. What it is. Now you can get away with running this deck with no basic lands, and that can work. That's up to you. Personally, I feel like it is best to run at least one of each of every basic land. You never know who's gonna run Path of Exile. You never know who's gonna have Assassin's Trophy. You never know who's gonna have Sell the Wreckage. So in case that happens, you at least have the basic lands. Just in case if that happens, that way you can have at least something to guarantee to be able to play more things down the road very soon. And also, with how the game can be sometimes, you will get pinged with some big damage time to time. So in case that happens, you will definitely need the fetch lands to grab your basic lands just in case. Also, there is going to be someone who will play um Blood Moon or cards similar as such. So in case of that happens, if you happen to know if someone's playing cards like Blood Moon, you can use your fetch lands, get these out as soon as you can, so that way you're not totally completely screwed out your mana and still be able to play your more powerful cards here and there. So yeah. And yes, I did get the Dominator. I did get these guys a retro frame foil too. It's pretty cool. And then for the rest of the lands, we have a couple Triomes. I'm currently running a total of 4 triumphs at the moment. Although I will say I am actually contemplating about taking some Triumph lands out. I'm not the biggest fan of Triumph lands always coming in tapped. This is a heavy aggressive deck. You want to be able to have your mana as soon as possible so you can start dropping your big fat dragons as soon as you can. But they're not terrible for obvious reasons. So especially in the early game, you use a fetch land. They are searchable out of fetch lands, so you can use a fetch land here and there, get out whatever dual tribal land you definitely need in the moment, so that way you will have access to whatever mana you need. So because of that, obviously I'm not going to take out all the tribal lands. I will keep probably more likely these three right here, the ones that tap for red, green, and then one of each of the other colors. That's not red, green. So down the road, I will definitely take out this one for either City of Brass or Arena of Glory. That just seems to be like the more likely direction I want to take with this deck here. So yeah, again, triumphs are not terrible, but I'm definitely gonna be running less of that near the road, near the near future. And again, this will definitely be taken out for a more appropriate triumph for a deck like this I want to run. And then for the rest of the lands, let me just put them back. Sorry about that. I'm not as organized as I thought I was going to be. And then for the rest of the lands, we have your basic staple stuff, your lands that tap for any color. You have your command tower, path of ancestry, exotic orchard. That's just your basic standard stuff when it comes to commander these days. Uh, your basic tribal support lands too. Uh, Cavern of Souls and Unclaimed Territory. They can be tapped for any mana for dragons. Cavern is awesome because it prevents your dragon that's being tapped for this to be uncounterable. Definitely very useful in the long run right here. And then everything else is just Maelstrom in Spirit of the Spirit Dragons. Again, more cards that happen to tap for any mana for your dragons. And they also have some nice nifty effects. I don't often use their nifty effects, but they are definitely good for the occasion you need them. Spirit to get a dragon from the grave back to your hand, and Maelstrom to potentially grab a dragon from your deck. Again, it's not often I go for that, but it is nice to have around in case something happens. And then everything else to Rapid Lands, Mana Confluence for obvious reasons, and something I'm currently messing around, but I am kind of thinking about cutting out as well, probably for City of Brass more than likely. This is a nice tech card I've been kind of messing around with. This is called Courtyard, a countryside, I meant to say. I apologize. Uh, What's nice about it is that it can either tap be colorless or it can be tapped for any spend for any mana, spend this mana to only cast creature spells. Now, the cool part about this card is that it's not restricted to a specific creature type. It says any creature. So not only you can use this for your dragons, but you can also use this for, while we are running only 5 non-dragons, it is always nice to have this for convenience for tapping this for your non-dragons just in case. That way you can reserve your more important mana, your more important lands for your more important cards. So, but that was just the idea. Again, it's not a terrible card, but I think more than likely, now that I'm saying this out loud, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit what I just said earlier. I think now that I think about it, I'm probably gonna take this out for City of Brass, and I'm gonna take this out for Arena of Glory. That seems like the better direction. I think I'm definitely gonna do instead when I eventually shake up the land ratio. But other than that, the lands are definitely very functional for a deck like this. And that is it for the lands. Now for what you guys are here for. Now, before we get to the dragons, we're now at the creatures. And let's get the non-dragons out of the way. Now, before we get to the creature lineup, you guys are going to notice real quickly. You guys are going to notice, unlike the last profile, you will notice right off the bat that I am not running a Planeswalker no more. I'm not running any Sarkhans no more. Fireblood, Unbroken, etc. Any Planeswalker version of Sarkhan or Planeswalkers in general, there's no Planeswalkers in this deck right here. Now, I cut out Planeswalkers in generally because people are very fearful about Sarkhan's ultimate, even though you have no plans of using Sarkhan's ultimate ever, because of the fear of how powerful those ultimates are, people will definitely go right after attacking into your Sarkhan, taking away your mana source ability to be able to play your dragons. And it's come up to an issue to the point where I'm just like, yes, I'm sorry, Sarkhan, I love you, but you gotta get cut out. And ever since I cut out the Planeswalker Sarkhans, I put in other cards that did the jobs just fine as the two Sarkhan Planeswalkers. My deck has still been functioning more well than it's ever done before. So does it suck? Yes. Do I regret it? No, I do not. It definitely works out functionally well. So now let's get to the creatures. So for the non-dragon creatures, we have Birds of Paradise, because of Birds of Paradise. No explanation needed with birds. We have Bloom Tender. I don't know why I was not running this card for the longest while. Ever since I put Bloom Tender back into this deck, it's been definitely helping me out play my dragons a lot more efficiently. Worst case scenario, you're gonna be able to get like a few colors out of him as you tap him, a red and green or something like that. Best case scenario, as you progress with the game and get more permanents, get more dragons on the board, all of a sudden Bloom Tender just becomes your best friend. So the fact that you have a potential possibility to just tap him from Wooburg and then tap 4 of anything, get your Dragon immediately or any other Wooburg-ish card is just really ridiculously powerful and definitely something that needs to be addressed immediately if your opponents ignore you too long. And then next up, we have something that I'm surprised not too many people play in their Dragon decks. This guy is called Razu of the Claw, and I absolutely love this card. So, for those guys who don't know what he does, he's a red, black, I'm sorry, he's a red, black, colorless for a 3/3 Warlock with Menace. You're never going to need a Menace. You're never going to attack with him. I don't know why they gave him Menace. But anyways, what he does is you could tap him for 2 mana, spend his tap him for 2 mana of any color, spend his mana to cast only dragon creature spells or activate abilities of dragons. Is that right? Cast dragon spells. I apologize. I knew I misread it. So you can tap him 2 mana of any color, cast any dragon creature spell, and yeah, so this is dragons. This helps you ramp up dragons as well. But what's really good about him is that he also has the really cool, interesting ability where he has once during each of your turns, you may cast dragon creature spells from your graveyard. So you can cast dragon creature spells from your graveyard by paying the cost as if they were in your hand. So being able to reoccur any of your key dragons is definitely very helpful for a deck like this. Now, he also has the unfortunate ability that says whenever any of your dragons are revived from the graveyard, they now get the ability of when this creature would die, it would go to the graveyard, it would be exiled instead. So that is something you have to be very wary about. So if you are going to commit to bringing a dragon back while you have Razu on the board, definitely be wary because whoever you bring back, unless your opponent plays something like Psychonic Rift or something, you will definitely lose those dragons for good. So definitely something you want to keep a note of when playing this guy right here. But definitely worth it once you get him rolling. And then here's this cool card. I am mad. I am super mad at myself that I never played this card up till recently. And ever since I put this bad boy in my deck, he has been an absolute unit for me. And this beautiful unit in question is called Roman Throne, and I got this for like $20. And I kid you not, a month after I got him for like $20, he skyrocketed to like $80, which is insane. I got a steal for this bad boy, and there's a reason why he's that good, and I can definitely testify to that. He is amazing in not only my Dragon deck, but also in my Mariner deck. This card is just nuts. So, for those guys who don't know what Roman Throne does, he's a 4/4 golem, colorless golem. He has Ward 2. He has, as Roman Throne enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Roman Throne is a chosen type in addition to its other types. So, you hardcast him, and he becomes a dragon, which now remember, he doesn't become a dragon until he hits the board. So that means he will not get the reduction from Dragon or any dragon support cards. Now he can work with dragon support cards once you play him and he turns into a dragon, but because he's in your hand and he's not a dragon yet, you will not get the reduction of Dragon, unfortunately. But why we run him is because of his final ability is if a trigger ability of another creature you control of the chosen type triggers, it triggers an additional time. So this card right here combos off with a lot of your powerful dragons, because literally almost all your dragons in this deck, except for a few exceptions, are all trigger effects. So you're going to get double Dragon effect, you're going to get double Urani effect, you're going to get double Miriam effect, you're going to get double Scourge of Falcons effect, you're going to get double Terror of Peaks effect. And once you get him going, once you get those dragons going, while you have Roman Throne on board, you're just gonna snowball and get out of hand very quickly, to the point where none of your opponents are gonna know what to do with you once you get going. And I don't know why I didn't play this card recently. Ever since I started playing this card, he has been an absolute godsend. So if you can afford him, if you can get him, if you get him for a reasonable price, put him in your dragon deck. You will not regret it. And speaking of Sarkhan, while we're not running the Sarkhan Planeswalkers no more, we are at least running his creature version. And I got this nice black border version for Sarkhan. It looks super cool. This version of Sarkhan is called Sarkhan Soul of Flame. Normally, I don't run mana reducers in my deck, in my Dragon no more. I feel it's kind of unnecessary. Dragon already does a job to make your reduction easy for you already, to the point where it's almost not really that necessary to run mana reducers for your Dragon decks no more. But I do make exception with Sarkhan Soul of Flame because of one reason. Not only because he happens to be conveniently a mana reducer at the same time, but he's a mana reducer for your dragons that can at least do something other than that. He has a nice, really cool ability of whenever a dragon enters a battlefield under your control, you may have Sarkhan Soul Flame become a copy of it until end of turn, except his name is Sarkhan Soul Flame, and it's legendary and is additional to other types. So what that means is that if you play a dragon while you have your Sarkhan Soul Flame on board, you may, and it's a you may choice. So if you don't want Sarkhan, turn that dragon. If there's another dragon you're trying to hard cast, and then you want to cast a different dragon, you rather have Sarkhan become that dragon, you can actually do that. So let's say you play Scaled Neutru. You don't want Sarkhan turn Scaled Neutru. That's okay. Just have Scaled Neutru enter the battlefield. Have Sarkhan don't turn Scaled Neutru, and then if you hard cast, let's say the Dragon immediately afterwards, you can have Sarkhan turn into the Dragon. Now, yes, once he transforms into that dragon, he will temporarily lose his ability of reducing your dragon's mana for the turn. But it is definitely very worth it. He combos all with cards like obviously Dragon. He combos all with cards with Sarkhan, Terror to Peak, Scourge of not Sarkhan, I'm sorry, Scourge of Valkus, Terror to Peaks, Gnawbone, Urani, etc. such. So if you have a dragon that's really good, that benefits from attacking, but that dragon can't attack due to summon sickness, guess what? If it's been like a whole turn rotation and Sarkhan no longer has summoning sickness, you can bring out, let's say, Dragon, and then you can have Sarkhan turn into the Dragon, have the Dragon effects, and have Sarkhan do Dragon things, and you can just snowball out of control insanely once you get Sarkhan going. I absolutely love this card, and I'm so glad I'm still running him. He is just another dutter of a crazy card for a deck like this. Absolutely love this guy. Now, finally, the main thing all you guys are here for. You guys are here for the dragons. So, for the dragon lineup, we have the only dragon in this deck that will not get the Dragon's reduction cost, but still worth it for obvious reasons. We have one Scion of the Dragon. If you guys are familiar with this card, if you guys have been playing Magic since 2013 at least, you obviously know right how good this card is with no introduction. There's combos with this card by just tap a 2 mana to double dragon from the deck graveyard, and he becomes that dragon, and you can just do like a lot. Litty combos. You have stack combos, which is why he's infamous with Skithrix or cards similar to Skithrix. and such, and you can just do a lot of gnarly combos when you need it right out the bat. So there's a certain dragon you're not getting into for the right reason, or not right reason. If there's a certain dragon that you're struggling to reach for gameplay reasons, guess what? Call your boy Scion the Ur Dragon. He will do the work for you. By paying 2 mana, you can send that dragon to the graveyard. This bad boy becomes that dragon, and you can do crazy things that you originally want to do with that dragon, but Scion can do the work for you, which is super awesome. And then next up, we are playing one Tiamat. Absolutely love the Tiamat. So all these other dragons will get the reduction. Unlike Scion, all these dragons I am running this deck right here will definitely get the reduction thanks to the Ur Dragon. But Tiamat is awesome. Tiamat is awesome. 7/7 for a Wooburg Dragon. Normally 7, but 6 thanks to Ur Dragon. When Tiamat enters the battlefield, you search your library for 5 different dragons and you add them to your hand. So once you have the right amount of mana and once you have the right setup going, you hard play your Tiamat, and Tiamat, and then you grab whatever dragons are most important to you, and you can just, not sound like a broken record, but you can just snowball out of nowhere very quickly. Now, I am aware you can do combos with her, with Draco Genesis, or anything related to Draco Genesis. Those are some really nice, nifty combos. But unfortunately, with Ur Dragon right here, I did try Draco Genesis, and nowadays I don't find Draco Genesis to be really that. Not that's not that good. It's an amazing card, but the problem with Draco Genesis, it's only good when you're going for game. If you're not going for game, if you hard cast Draco Genesis, you pass. Everyone is gonna want your head on a silver platter. So because of that, because of how likely Draco Genesis puts a target on your back, I have kind of leaned towards taking Draco Genesis out of the deck right here and just relying more on my treasures and other natural stuff to be able to bring on my dragons, do my dragon things, do my draggy things, all that cool jazz. So yeah, Tiamat, love this card, can't go wrong with it. And then here's something I'm currently messing around with. We have Two-Headed Hellkite. This card's kind of cool. It's a Wooburg. Calls exactly Wooburg thanks to the Ur Dragon. He's a 5/5 with a flying, menace, haste, so you can immediately cast him and then attack with him immediately. Whenever you attack with two-headed Hellkite, whenever you attack with Two-Headed Hellkite, you get to draw 2 cards for free. So giving this deck free draw power, definitely very useful. Plus, with them being a Wooburg Dragon, this does help, along with Tiamat and Scion of the Ur Dragon, and of course Ur Dragon, this will help you enable cards like Bloom Tender, so you can always have access with Bloom Tender to have Wooburg mana when you need Wooburg mana to do things. So yeah, cool card. Love this card. It's awesome. And free drawing too. When a deck like this, so you don't gas out, definitely helps out in the long run. Now, real quickly, I'm gonna confess real quickly, I'm not running Ancient Gold, Ancient Silver, Ancient Bronze, and Ancient Brass Dragon no more. I am thinking about putting Brass Dragon back into the deck. I just don't know what to take out for it at the moment. But as for the other 3 mentioned dragons, I'm not really running those dragons no more in this deck right here. I am running Copper Dragon, which we're going to get to very soon. But we're not running those dragons no more, especially Gold Dragon, at least as right now. Now, the reason why I don't play Gold Dragon no more is because Gold Dragon kind of relies too much on the dice roll for it to be really good. The fact that you can, and yes, I am aware the combos with Scourge and Dragon Tempest is really good when you roll like a 10 or above, obviously. But the problem is with Gold Dragon, it relies way too much on the dice roll. So if you roll anything less than 10, which actually does happen so much, which is why we're not running Silver Dragon and Bronze Dragon no more, because you're not really getting really big payoffs with those dragons versus something like Utvera Hellkite. Not Utvera Hellkite. No, I was right. Okay, nothing like Utvera Hellkite, etc. Such, because there's been a couple games, especially against my buddy who played Atraxa Grand Unifier. Yes, that Atraxa Grand Unifier. Uh, there was a game where I played against my buddy. I swung with him with Gold Dragon. I only rolled a 2, so I only got 2 Pixie Dragons. Then when my buddy took my gold dragon. He attacked someone else with gold dragon. He rolled like 18, and because of that 18, he was able to use my own dragon against me, make a board that was hard for me to deal with. So because of that, because gold dragon is so splashable with other people's decks, when they take him from you, it definitely becomes more of a liability than you would definitely expect. Whereas cards like Utvera Hellkite is very dragon, very tribal reliant in order to do your effects as such. Because cards like Utvera is tribal reliant, you won't be able to see your opponent take advantage of Utvera when they steal from you versus compared to Gold Dragon. Plus, if Utvera will be on your side, you are playing dragons. You're gonna play out buttload of dragons, so you're more likely to make you're more likely to establish a bigger, more threatening board than you would with Gold Dragon, and plus the tokens are a lot more stronger with Utvera Hellkite versus Gold Dragon. And with Gold Dragon being costly as it is, along with Bronze and Silver Dragon for what they're worth, they have become more of a liability, a lot of issues. So that's why I'm not running them no more. I am thinking, again, not to sound like a broken record, I am thinking about putting back in Brass Dragon because the free recursion is definitely very helpful in a deck like this. So down the road, I will definitely put in spot for Brass Dragon down the road. But just not right now at the moment. Whereas Copper Dragon, on the other hand, even if you got a low roll, he's the only one that's worth the roll. So not only he costs less all compared to the other ancient dragons, only 5 mana thanks to Dragon, but also even if you get a low roll, you're still getting free mana, which is what dragons need the most. So because of that, is it gold dragon? Copper dragon because a lot more reliable compared to gold, silver, and bronze. But that's just how I feel. So, anyways, so now for the rest of dragons, we have some token producing dragons. We have the Utvera Hellkite. I'm not gonna repeat myself. I'm not gonna regurgitate what I just said. Lathris, the Dragon Queen, gives you a free 5/5 dragon every time you play a non-token dragon. And she also has a nice ability where you can tap a red and one of anything to give all your dragons +1 power. So if you're trying to close out the gap, if you're trying to win by infect, yes, I have one card that can win by infect. I'll get to that card. So if you need more power for infect, if you need more power for your dragon for commander damage, or you just need more power in general for your dragons to finish them off, while do your thing, is definitely very beneficial. Now, while she doesn't get out of hand like Utvera, she does help you still establish a board nonetheless, and she does it for less mana. And for less mana, while you're still doing your dragony things, you can still play more dragon tokens, so you can combo all the cards like Terror Peak, Scourge of Falcus, and Dragon Tempest. So yeah, love this card nonetheless. And now for the burn on site dragons, as I call them. As we mentioned earlier, we have the Terror Peaks and Scourge of Falcus. Uh, I don't think I need to explain how good these cards are. We've all definitely seen more than enough how dangerous and how out of hand these two dragons could definitely get if they're not dealt with soon enough. And then we have, for more heavy damage dragons, we also have a copy of Twin Flame Tyrant. 3/5, 4 mana, thanks to Dragon. Flying, if a source you control would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals double damage, whether we're talking combat damage, effect damage, etc. such. As long as you have this bad boy on the board, all your damages is going to be double. So this will give you big opportunities to close out the game very quickly, very fast, especially once you get your burn dragons going on a very impressive level too. And that's my burn dragons. Now this is what I call the mana producing dragons. We have the D&D version of Goldspan Dragon. Look at this. This card is beautiful. This card is beautiful. Flying Haste. Give you free treasures every time you attack or it gets targeted, and as long as it's on the board. all your treasures will tap for 2 mana instead of 1, which is awesome because you have a buttload, because you have quite a bit of other dragons and you have Smothering Tithe in this deck, so you have other treasures to make ways to make treasures besides just this right here, and you can just be able to start dropping your big dragons really quickly. We also got Unrivaled Ancients. You're playing dragons. They're gonna have a buttload of power. So you swing with this bad boy, and you swing with your other dragons, and you're just gonna get a buttload of mana very quickly. And speaking of buttload of mana, we have Old Gnawbone. Whenever you deal combat damage, you gain that many treasures. So you're playing dragons. You're all about going to offense, going for attacking. So give you free mana. Why not? Copper Dragon, no explanation needed with Copper Dragon. And then one scaled Nutaru. It's more of a mana dork. It's not as good as Birds of Paradise, technically, but it is a mana dork dragon that, while it only taps for green, but it does give you the nice benefit of, if this mana is spent to cast a dragon creature spell, you get 2 free life. You're playing Shocklands, you're going to get hit by your opponents quite a bit, so being able to recuperate some of your life as you play dragons definitely helps you out in the long run. So, yeah, glad we're playing scaled Nutaru. And then this is what I'm calling the utility dragons, whether it's for drawing or all that such. We have Zurgo and Ojutai. This card is a beautiful card. I'm glad I put this card recently. Zurgo Ojutai, for those guys who don't know what it does, Flying Haste, so it can attack immediately. Only costs 4 mana, thanks to Dragon. Colorless, blue, red, white, so it's Jeskai. Flying Haze, when Zurgo Ojutai has hexproof as long as it was entered the battlefield this turn. So remember, it has hexproof during the turn until the end of the turn this card enters the battlefield. So not only obviously you attack with it, swing with it, not have to worry about getting Path of Exile, all that such, but also if for whatever reason you're able to play this card during your opponent's turn, let's say someone foolishly gave you flash or something, and you were somehow able to play this card during your opponent's turn, guess what? This has hexproof until that turn is over. So they can't Sword to Plowshare or Path of Exile this sucker if this is somehow played during your opponent's turn. So you play this during your opponent's turn, and then have like a emergency chump blocker if need be it. But the main thing we run this beautiful beast is because of its main ability. It has, whenever one or more dragons you control deals combat damage to a player or battle, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand, and the rest of the bottom of your library in any order. You may return one of those dragons to its owner's hands. So this card is really sick. Now, the ruling with this card, I was kind of double checked, and I did confirm with this card right here. You have to in order to be able to use effect multiple times at one same turn, you have to hit other players, not just the one player. You can't go, I swing 5 dragons at player A, so I get to do this ability with this dragon 5 times. No, if you want to activate this dragon's ability to look at top 3 cards to grab something, you have to hit other opponents. So if you have, let's say, Dragon, Gnawbone, and this card, what you can do is have this card attack player 1, Dragon attack player 2, and then Gnawbone attack player 3, and assuming all 3 of those attacks hit, then what you can do is, since 3 different players got hit, then you can use Zurgo Ojutai's ability 3 times to look at top 3 cards, add something among them to your hand. But what's also really nice about this is, while you're going through your deck, finding more answers or finding more combos or key cards to do things at the same time, you also have the nice benefit that if you want to, return a dragon you control to your hand. You typically don't want to do that, but you do have certain dragons that do benefit from, when they enter or anything, etc. such, you can use their ability again. So something like, for example, another spoiler, Hellkite Charger. So what you can do is, let's say hypothetically this is all you have in battlefield, like besides your lands, etc. such. So what you can do is, you can have Zurgo attack an opponent, Then do your look top three, grab what you need immediately, and then what you can do is after that resolves, and there's an option, you can return your Hellkite Charger back to your hand, so that way the next time you cast your Hellkite Charger, you can have Hellkite Charger to be able to recast again, so you can bring out your Dragon with haste, etc. Such. So, and that's just the tip of the iceberg of the many combos you can do with Zergo Ojutai with a deck like this, which is just insane. And then next up we have Dragonborn Champion. By the way, before I forget, this card and Scaled Nutaru are my only two dragons that don't have flying. Now the reason why that's an issue for not only obvious flying reasons, but also remember your Dragon Tempest, which is the best enchantment for dragons in my opinion, specifically says flying creatures gain haste, not dragon creatures gain haste. And because this card does not have flying, if Dragon Tempest is your supposed only haste enabler, guess what? You will not be able to attack with your Dragonborn Champion immediately, unfortunately. But Dragonborn Champion is still a great card. So it's a 5/3 that only. So it's a 5/3 that has the ability of whenever a source you, and it also has trample. That's not terrible. So but uh, whenever a source you control deals 5 or more damage, whether it's combat, whether it's effect damage, like Scourge, Tempest, etc., such, as long as that source you controlled has dealt 5 or more damage at that moment, you get to draw a card. So with a deck like this, can definitely get very out of hand. Best case scenario, as you pop off your burn effects and your attacks, you're gonna draw a buttload of cards. Worst case scenario, you could just have this swing at an exposed opponent and get like a free card draw when you definitely need that without spending any resources. So yeah, really cool card, cheap for 3 mana, definitely helpful for the long run. And this cool guy, I got Dragonhawk Fate's Tempest. I love this card, especially when you combo him off with Miriam Sentinel Worm and or your Roman Throne. For those of you guys who don't know what Tempest does, it's a 5/5 with a that costs 5. Well, 4 thanks to Dragon, which that requires 2 red. He's a bird dragon. That's funny. He has flying, and he has whenever Dragonhawk enters or attacks, exile the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of creatures you control with power of 4 or greater. You're playing dragons, so you're definitely gonna have a buttload of that eventually. And you may play those cards until the end of your next end step. At the beginning of your next end step, Dragonhawk happens deals 2 damage to each opponent for each of those cards that are exiled this way. So not only this gives you free utility to dig through your deck to potentially grab some burn effects here and there, or to grab some more cards you can hard cast, go through your deck a little easier, but also I think it said till an extra turn. Let me double read that thing, make sure I read it right. It's power till at the beginning of your Yeah, I was right, definitely. So until the end of your turn, you're gonna be able to, best case scenario, you have ways to dig through your deck, grab more cards you want to do some nice little combos. Worst case scenario, whatever cards you don't play with this guy right here, you can start doing some chip damage to your opponents very quickly, which is why I love this card with Roman Throne and Mariam very nicely, because with the once you combo all with those specific cards, you just get out of hand with this card right here. You do some massive burning to your opponent's faces, and you could just rob the game out of nowhere, especially if you have something really cool like Twin Flame Tyrant, all that crazy good jazz. So yeah, I love me some Dragonhawk. And then next we have Thunder Mane Dragon. Not a terrible card. Only 3 mana thanks to Dragon. Requires specifically red. Flying for a 4/4. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. And whenever Okay, and then you may cast creature spells with power 4 or greater from the top of your library. If a creature spell was cast this way, it gains haste until end of turn. So it's a haste enabler for anything that happens to be convenient in your deck. You will still get the reduction from the Dragon if it's a dragon, obviously. And this will definitely be and If you bring up something really good, it will give said creature haste, so that way you can start doing some really nice nifty combos right out the bat. So yeah, this card is just really nice. Gives you free information, do things if you want to set things up for the near future, or also as you're digging through your deck with your other draw cards or search cards, this can also allow you to bring out other important dragons that you also need to start going off your big combos. So yeah, Thunder Main Dragon, I love this card. Hellkite Charger. I don't think I need to explain how fucking amazing this card is in Dragon. This card is the nuts. The nuts with Dragon. And then we have Dragon Lord Dramoka. This spell can be countered, and your opponent can't cast spells during your turn. It's a 5/7 for 6 mana, 5 things to Dragon. Flying Lifelink, which is not a terrible combo. You can just swing down some stuff, gain at least some life back. But the fact that this card can't be countered and it stops your opponent from casting spells during your turn is just nuts. This card can, if this card is not dealt with fast enough, which is kind of hard for them to do, this can almost guarantee you the game once you have the right setup. And I've stolen so many games because of what this card has done for my deck, which is ridiculous. And then next up is my all-time favorite dragon. And I got the nice little artwork for him. He is just nuts. For those of you guys who don't know who he is, Bellfire Dragon is a 6/6 flyer. Normally costs 7 mana, but 6 things to Dragon with 2 red. Flying is whenever Bellfire Dragon deals combat damage to a player, it deals that much damage to all creatures that player controls. So this card is a one-sided board wipe, and I have a lot of personal history with this card. This is actually not the specific card here, obviously, but Bellfire Dragon, for those of you guys who don't know, Bellfire Dragon is my all-time favorite dragon ever in Magic the Gathering. It's the card that got me into Magic, believe it or not. Back when I used to play Modern, back when I first got into Modern, that's why I did the format the most. Bellfire Dragon was literally the first dragon I've ever owned, believe it or not. And ever since I first played Bellfire Dragon for the first time ever in Modern and used Bellfire Dragon's effect, I had the biggest smile ever. I was like, holy crap, this card is awesome. And this card's even more awesome when you pull it off in Commander, which is why I got this nice, special, cool foil version of this Bellfire Dragon, because he definitely deserves the foil treatment. So, love you, Bellfire. Thank you for being homie. I love you. And then we have one Ojutai, so we can control the board. That way, in case we get too aggressive and we want to put our opponent on a check, or opponents on a check, so we can tap down some stuff so they can't attack us too much. We have Ojutai for that. So 7 mana, again, 6 instead because of Dragon. This card is just really nice. Helps you control the game, steal the game, control the game if you need to. And then this is where things get a little hectic. We have one Miriam Sentinel Worm. Create tokens of all your other non-token dragons. This card is amazing. Yes, this even includes obviously non-legendaries. No, I'm sorry. You can make tokens, copies of legendaries with the tokens being treated as non-legendary. So you can have 2 Dragons or 3 Dragons. You have Roman Throne, etc. Such. I love this card, which is why I have a Miriam Sentinel Worm deck dedicated Miriam to. This card is just nuts. And speaking of nutty dragons, we have Urini. Every time you swing with this bad boy, or play this bad boy, Flying Trample, by the way, normally 7 mana, but costs 6 to Dragon. Flying Trample, whenever this card enters or attack, you look at top 8 cards of your library, play a dragon among them, and yeah, if you get the right dragons going, you can just steal the game, especially when you get Miriam right here. Miriam and Urini are like the best friends ever. You play Urini while you play Urini while you have Miriam. Miriam's going to give you additional token copy of Urini, and then each Urini tokens are going to give you at least 2 dragons, and then Miriam's going to steal those 2 dragons. You're going to get tokens of those 2 dragons, and if you have Roman Throne, oh my god, it is going to be a mess if you play these suckers with Roman Throne or Sarkhan copying one of these guys right out of the bat. The game is just gonna get nutty when you get something like that going on. Like, it is just insane. And then we have a Tarka World Render because give your dragons double strike. Why not? In case you need to close out the game. And to finally wrap up the creatures, I mentioned before, we have some Infect in this deck right here. And this is the one Infect we're playing. We're playing my second favorite dragon of all time, Skithiryx the Blight Dragon. Flying Infect 4/4. We can tap a black, give him haste. We can tap 2 black to regenerate him. Uh, there's no explanation needed why this card is amazing. Some people love him, some people hate him, some people admire him, some people despise him. Just like Dragon. I think some people hate this card even more than Dragon. And that says something. Now, we're not playing Molten Steel Dragon. We're not doing the Molten Steel Dragon, Skithiryx, Cyan Dragon combo, because the combo is way too reliant on Molten Steel Dragon and Skithiryx to still be in your deck in order for the combo to go off. And there has been a lot of times where I haven't been able to get that lucky on keeping Molten Steel Dragon in the deck before I eventually accidentally drew into one or the other, and it kind of ruins the combo when that happens, unfortunately. So what I typically do with Skithiryx is I will do one of 2 things instead. I will either A, wait to have a Target World Render or something similar like that to help me give Skithiryx double strike, or B, wait for the right setup with another dragon particular or something else particular, so that way I can kill my opponent on sight with the Infect if someone needs to die immediately by the Infect. So yeah, Skithiryx is still a great card, but you don't want to bring him out unless you absolutely are ready to do that. Because if you bring him out immediately and you don't have a plan to utilize him, then someone's going to want him to die. Especially if you don't have the 2 black to pay for him. And alright, everybody, that is finally it for the creatures. Now we are going to go to the enchantments. Now, for the enchantments of the deck, we have Dragon Tempest. No explanation needed with Dragon Tempest. Temur Ancestry. Give all your creatures haste, and whenever you play a creature with power 4 or greater, you get free card draw. So give your stuff haste and card draw, always nice. Rhythm of the Wild. So your dragons cannot. Another way to stop your dragons from being countered. Stop your dragons from being countered, and give all your non-tokens Riot, which means you can either give them +1/+1 counter or give them haste. So if you have a haste enabler already going, like these guys right here, this is still usefully good because, especially something like Skithiryx, as I was saying earlier. So ideally, let's say you have Dragon Tempest and Within the Wild, what you can do with these cards right here is, let's say you have Dragon Tempest and Rhythm Wild, and let's say you have a Tarka World Render, you choose. You have a Target World Render. Once you eventually play into Skithiryx, Skithiryx will gain haste, takes your Dragon Tempest, and then you can have Rhythm of the Wild, give the +1/+1 counter to your Skithiryx, and then while Skithiryx's power is at 5, thanks to that, and while you have your Target World Render, you can attack with your Skithiryx immediately. He'll be a 5/5 with double strike, flying, Infect. So because of that, he can kill someone by 10 Infect right off the bat right there. So it's really nice, nifty when you were able to do stuff like that. So that's what we do with the cards like that. And then next we have Frostcleave Siege. You typically lean more on the Temur thing to give you stuff haste if you need to, but there are times where I will choose Jeskai to give me the ability to draw if I need that, especially if I already have my haste enablers going on. And then we have Out the Beanstalk, because of the Beanstalk. And because this is a bracket 4 deck, it does make sense we have some game changers. So we're going to play everybody's favorite game changers. Rhystic Studies and Smothered Tide. Yay! Everybody's favorite 2 enchantments. Do you want to play the 1? Do you want to play the 1? Do you want to play the 2? Do you want to play the 2? Yay! Fun, fun, fun. And here is something I'm currently messing around with, and I'm glad I'm utilizing this card right here. We have Call of the Spirit Dragons. Now, I think a lot of people already know what this card does, but for those of you guys who don't know what it does, it's enchantment for your dragons. It says dragon creatures you control have indestructible, so all your dragons have indestructible. That's the main thing we run this card for. It's a Wooburg card too, as well, by the way. So it's another way to enable your Bloom Tender to be able to tap for Wooburg as well too. So on top of that, so it gives all your dragons indestructible, and then at the beginning of your upkeep, you may put a +1/+1 counter for depending on your color, if that makes sense. So for example, uh, let's say you have a green dragon, a red dragon, blue dragon, black dragon, and a white dragon. You put counters on each of those dragons to represent each of those colors, only if they have those colors. And once 5 counters have been successfully distributed because of that, you automatically win the game, which is definitely very useful because you never know who's going to have cards that say you can't attack. You never know who's going to have something that says your dragons can't do this and that. So in case if something like that happens, which rarely ever does happen, but in case that does happen, you have this card for that occasion. Hey, if people are going to stall the heck out of you and they're going to stop you from attacking, guess what? You have another free win con just in case. So you have Dragon and like buttload of other dragons for different colors, and they don't do something to your stuff. You can be like, guess what? I distributed 5 counters with this card. I automatically win the game. They look at you, and be like, wait, what the hell? And I haven't resolved that quite yet, but it's nice to have a good option. But again, the main thing we use this card mostly for is for the indestructibility, to give our dragons indestructible. That's the main thing we run this card for. Having the ability to give dragons counters, just like Rhythm of the Wild, and having built-in win con is a nice touch just in case. And that is it for the enchantments. Now for the artifacts. You have your obvious stuff, Soul Ring, Farewell Stone, I'm sorry, Arcane Signet, Farewell Stone. No explanation needed with those cards right there. We have Orb of Dragonkind, no explanation with this card. Tap it and another resource, give you 2 mana for your dragons. And if you really need it, sack it and tap a red. Look at top 7 cards of your library, potentially grab a dragon if need be. Dragon's Horde to potentially give you more card draw and or mana wrapping for your dragons as well. Uh, Herald of Horn, also another way to give you mana ramp for your dragons. Also, if you don't need a mana ramp, it also gives one of your dragons the ability of having trample and give you a free card draw when you hit someone if needed be. Definitely very helpful in your long run. And then I have Lane Orb of Dragonkind. It is 3 mana just to play this artifact, so kind of a little bit annoying to some aspect, but it's a red source that gives whatever dragon you play with this card right here haste. So it's another haste enabler without spending any important resources while giving you ramping if you need the ramping at the same time. So if you're able to ramp it to a really big dragon, especially a really key dragon like Dragon, Ureni, etc. such, this can help you snowball and help you get out what you need to get out for your important resources very fastly. And that is it for the artifacts. We are running a couple of sorceries and instants. Actually, yeah, the rest of the build is just essentially sorceries and instants at this point. So we do have a few sorceries for mana ramping reasons. We have Nature's Lore, 3 Visits, and Farseek. No explanation with these cards right here. You're playing dragons. You need these to get out your more preferred lands, especially your Triumphs, so you can be able to eventually start making your mana plays right there. And then we're gonna go over what I call the tutor engine, and we're playing bracket 4, so why not? So Demonic Tutor, no explanation needed with Demonic Tutor. Enlightened Tutor, I'm glad I'm putting this card in the deck finally. I had one friend rip on me. I wasn't playing this card at first, and my friend turned to me and be like, dude, why the fuck are you not playing this card? And I'm like, oh yeah, good point. And then I was gonna play Worldly Tutor, but personally, I'm starting to like this card a little bit more. I like Adelmo's call, to be honest. Now, while it is one more mana, a green and a white specifically, in order to use this card, the one thing I like about this card right here is that it adds a creature you want directly from your deck to your hand, which, in my opinion, I find it will be a lot more useful compared to uh, Worldly Tutor. Because sure, it's only one green mana just to play it, but you had to put that said dragon on top of your deck. And with a deck like dragons, the last thing you want to do, because how heavy mana cost they are, you can't really afford to dilly dally. Whatever you're tutoring for, you want to get in your hand because you want to be able to play your stuff. Now, Enlightened Tutor gets a pass. Yes, it is a one drop tutor that puts said card on top of the deck, but the reason why Lightning Tutor gets a pass on that is because the card you're searching for, more than likely, is going to be a great card to ramp out the dragons. All the cards are searchable with Enlightened Tutor, except for like literally 2 to 3 cards. No, maybe no, 2 cards. All the cards are searchable with Lightning Tutor, except for like literally 2 cards, and that's it. Or all cards are going to allow you to ramp out your dragons like no tomorrow. So because of that, Enlightened Tutor gets a pass. It does the job just fine. Whereas Adama's Call is a lot more better suitable tutor run than Whirler Tutor, because you want those big fat dragons to be in your hand, not on top of your deck. Because whatever card you draw into after you tutor with Adama's Call could mean the difference between you winning and losing the game, versus if you did Worldly Tutor, you're losing out what could be a very important draw. And yes, before anyone says anything, I am aware about the combo you can do with cards like that with risk studies, etc. such. But the problem is it's too reliant on a risk study to pull off said combo. So you're much better off with having the cards to just directly get to your hand when you need them most. And since we are playing blue, it does make sense that we are running some counter spells. We do have Stubborn Denial. We had no explanation needed Stubborn Denial. We have Mana Drain. No explanation needed with Mana Drain, especially for a Dragon deck. Use this, counter something, and that big thing you counter is a big spell. You get a buttload of mana for when your turn comes, and it's another. So it not only counters something for 2 mana, but also gives you potentially a buttload of mana for free. And the last counter spell, I'm surprised not too many people are running this card right here. It's definitely a very underrated counter spell, especially for a deck like Dragons. And that is Spectral Denial. So, for those of you guys who don't know what this card does, it's a blue and an X for instant counter spell. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature you control with 4 greater. So, you're playing Dragons, so you're going to have a buttload of this possibly. Counter target spell unless its controller pays X. So what that means is, let's best case scenario. Let's say you have Dragon, Gnawbone, and Sign of the Dragon all together. While you have 1 blue mana, you tap the 1 blue mana. Let's say your opponent tries to play Farewell. And this is your only counter spell. So if you counter, so for 1 blue mana, let's say you only tap that 1 blue mana while you control those 3 dragons. Guess what? In order for your opponent to stop this from countering that said spell, unless they have a counter spell of their own or anything related as such, the only way to stop this besides that is to be able to tap 3 mana. X is equal to whatever you tap into X, and or how many big dragons you control. Best case scenario, if you have a good amount of dragons on the board, this becomes a free counter anything for only 1 blue mana. Worst case scenario, if let's say your opponent's all spent out, even if you don't have any dragons, let's say they play Omniscience for 10, they're spent up trying to play Omniscience. Even if you only have 1 blue mana, you can still cast this for like only 1 blue mana, and then cancel the Omniscience. Or let's say they're casting Omniscience and they have exactly 11 mana. What you can do to still stop the Omniscience, even if you don't have creatures on the board, you just have a blue and one of anything to literally guarantee to counter that spell. So you have a lot of control ways, a lot of beneficial ways to control the board and control whatever is the most threatening you when that comes to the case. So yeah, Spectral Denial is definitely a underrated card, and I'm surprised not a lot of people are definitely running this card in a heavy creature deck. And then everything else, I'm calling the interaction section for the rest of the video. We have your staple, your on-site kill cards. We have your Sword of Plowshare for obvious reasons. Assassin's Trophy, also for obvious reasons. Heroic Intervention to give your stuff a little bit of protection. And then this is what I'm calling the sort of ish board wipe section. Uh, Again, so we're playing bracket 4, so we have more access, more game changers. We have Psychotic Rift. No explanation needed with Psychotic Rift. We have Crooks of Fate, a one-sided board wipe, well, one-sided-ish board wipe with this deck right here. One of the many reasons why we're running one of the many benefits of running mostly dragons is cards like this will not hurt you at all, or not hurt you that much, while you just watch your opponent's board go bye-bye, and you just rob the game, just dogpile your opponents with your dragons, and just steal the games right off the bat. And then everything else to finally wrap up the deck. Again, we're playing bracket 4, so we have more access game changers. Teferi's Protection, because it's Teferi's Protection. And finally, to wrap up this tired deck. I haven't really played this card quite yet. I'm kind of more of a testing phase with this card right here. I am kind of leaning towards maybe potentially taking this card out, but I've seen my buddy pop off with this card. How did my wife go a little crazy over there? Sorry about that. I see my best buddy resolve this card so many times, and it's a Traxa Grand Unifier deck. So I'm gonna try this with my Ur Dragon. I haven't resolved this quite yet, and that is Area Ultimatum. This card is nuts. For those of you guys who don't know what it does, it's a sorcery that costs 3 black, 2 green, 2 white. Return any number of permanent cards with different names from your graveyard to the battlefield. This says all permanent cards, creatures, enchantments, planeswalkers, if you want to run planeswalkers, artifacts, enchantments. I think I said enchantments, my apologies if I said that, but you get the gist. Essentially, even lands. So you get back literally everything besides your instances sorceries. A little similar to how I explained with Ur Dragon beginning. So once you resolve this card, you just get back a buttload of your important resources, and you can just correct your game state very quickly. Now, again, I've never really played this card quite yet. I haven't really drawn into it yet. I haven't had the privilege to resolve it quite yet. I'm waiting for the day to do that. I have resolved like 95% what you saw in the deck so far at entirely. This is like one of the rare few cards I have yet to pop off this card. So maybe I'll take this card. Maybe I'll keep it in. I don't know. We'll do some more test playing as the testing goes on with this deck in the near future. And yeah, everybody, that right there was my Ur Dragon deck profile. This is my baby. This is the deck I put in the most love in when it comes to all my decks. It's what is literally my most powerful deck in my entire collection. And every time my friends see this card right here, or my deck right here, they're always clutching their butt cheeks, and they're like, "Yep, here's Christian going all with goddamn Ur Dragon," and yeah, it's just a blast with this card right here. Again, I know some people hate this card, which is fine. Some people love this card, which is fine. But yeah, that's just how I feel with Ur Dragon. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give me your feedback. I really do appreciate it. Apologies for the lack of content. Again, things have just been a little hairy here and there. And I will see you guys in the near future. And I'm out. Bye. Peace. And I love yous.